Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. David has lost one son in a robbery. The other son is in the hospital recuperating. And the homeboys are at the hospital with him. And David's son wants to retaliate. And he's trying to figure out what to say to his only son left to convince him to leave this alone. Now see, his son is only doing what David told him to do. See, in reality, when you're talking about this gang life, right? It's certain things that we talk up and say, if this happens, you got to do this. If this happens, you got to do that. And let me give you an example. Like if they say, if somebody disrespect your hood, right? You got to put in work. Somebody do something to one of your homeboys, you got to put in work. See, all of that stuff sounds good to the extent that there's any good in it, and I don't think there is, but it all sounds tough. Let me put it that way. It all sounds tough until you actually have to do it. It all sounds tough until the reality of the lifestyle, the decisions that you're making come home to roost. Yeah, living that lifestyle as a gangster, whatever type of organization that you belong to, it sounds good, it sounds fun, it seems to be all this and that. You can live a carefree life, don't obey no rules, don't do nothing, just come and go as you please, take from those that you want to take and give to those that you want to give, and then can't nobody say or do nothing. All of that sounds good until it's time to pay for those decisions that you make. And see, David had taught his sons all of this stuff. You a crip. You gang banging. You do this. And that's the end of it. If somebody do this to you, you take care of your business. Listen to me, y'all. I get it. But I'm asking you, help me understand. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Because when I was in rotation, let me tell y'all something. I did a lot of stuff I had no business. But it was a part of me that knew that it was wrong. It was a part of me that knew that I got no business doing it. My grandparents didn't raise me to act like this. My mama wouldn't approve of me acting like this if she were alive. You know what I'm saying? I knew it was a part of me that was still alive on that. But I did it anyway. And I'm asking now, all of y'all that's listening to this show, I'm asking, is that part of you still there where you know what you're doing is wrong? Because see, David's problem was this. He had talked his sons into believing that this was right from a young age. And when you're young and impressionable, right, the one that you want to impress, meaning they wanted to impress their dad more than they wanted to impress their mom, even though their mom was the one that was there for them. The mom that was the one that was making sure they were clothed and fed and all this and that, even though she accepted some of the money that her, baby daddy sent home and all this old kind of stuff, right? She accepted that. So in that, she set, she set a bad example too, to the extent that, that lifestyle was helping to provide for them. So it made it difficult for her to ridicule what he was doing because she was accepting money to pay the bills. See what I'm saying? So she stayed silent on a lot of things. So now that her two sons were grown up and they've been conditioned and nurtured to believe that ain't nothing wrong with this, the question that I pose to you is, do you think they had that part of them that knew that this was wrong? I'm going to say no, because they were influenced at a very young age, like a lot of our young people out there now are being influenced. That's why it's so hard for them to break away. But see, David, listen to me. David, he knew that it was wrong. You understand what I'm saying? He knew that it was wrong. And now he was feeling what it feels like to be held accountable. Not necessarily by the law. No. There's a court higher than the court that we see on this earth. There's a judgment, a responsibility that is way more treacherous in the sense that it's gonna make you feel in ways that the legal system can't make you feel, and that's God's law. See, you got to be morally accountable for the things that you do, and David was morally wrong in the way that he raised his sons, and now it's coming home to roost, and now he's got to figure out, how do I tell my son that I've misled him? I still love him. That's what he said to me. Joe T, I love my son. I said, tell him that. Now, see, you got to keep in mind, when I'm giving him this advice, right, I'm thinking about, my sons ain't made this mistake yet. You feel what I'm saying? They hadn't made that mistake yet. So I'm thinking it's just as simple as tell them you love them, and it's going to register, right? Because I could tell my two sons that I love them, and it registered. I didn't realize how much it registered, you feel what I'm saying, until years later, but I'm thinking that's enough. But what if you brainwash somebody, even if it's your own blood, to believe one thing, and now you're coming back because the reality of what you taught them has hurt you in ways that you can't even imagine. Now you want to say, I was wrong. See, that's what he was facing. He was trying to figure out, will he listen to me? Because he wanted to stop the pain. See, that's how you're going to find yourself in a dilemma out there where you're condoning a certain lifestyle and something's going to happen where you can't even take a deep breath no more. Where the tears won't stop running down your face. You know when them tears running down your face and they real warm and you can't breathe and you're going like that. That's what I'm talking about. See, that's one of those gut-wrenching pains. Just like somebody done hit you in your stomach and told you, didn't I tell you this was going to happen? Didn't I tell you that this lifestyle was twisted and wicked? It's a price to pay to play on that field. And David was paying it. But he still wanted to save his son. So he called up the homeboys. He telling the homeboys, look, we need to leave this alone. I don't want to lose my only son. Now these homeboys, they listening to him, but see, they've been brainwashed too to believe that this is how you respond to situations like that. So they tell him, say, hey, cuz, what's wrong with you? This is our life. This is how we get down. Why you talking like that? You done got soft? And he's trying to explain to them it ain't about being soft. It's about loving his kids. And they didn't understand that because to them, they lost homeboys. Some of them had even lost family members too. But it didn't hit them like it hit him. So they were looking at it like, we're out here putting our lives on the line for you and your son. It's time for your son to put in work. It's time for him to put in work. And this is what he wants to do. Listen to them now, how this sound. They're telling a father that his own son wants to do this, and that's why they're going to do it. Period, point blank. They're doing it. They're going to do it. And he feels paralyzed. Hold up, though. He the OG. Can't he make that call and say, no, this ain't going to happen? Can't he do that? You would think. I mean, I know y'all seen some movies to know how it go in the organization. Oh, wait a minute. That's the movies, ain't it? That's the movies. It's always some clear-cut outcome to it in the movies, right? You know, OG say this is what it's going to be. You feel what I mean? Not always. Not always. See, because sometimes that anger and that rage that you feel in your gut, when you hear somebody that's trying to tell you what's right, but it goes against what you've been taught, what you've learned, you don't want to hear that. You're not going to hear it. You're not going to hear it. And no matter what he says, his authority, his credibility has come into question now. And he's not the big bad wolf that he's pretended to be. They smell blood in the water. They smell blood in the water. You weak. Oh, because your son done the one that's laying up in here. Now you want to change the rules. They looking at him like he a real sucker. You done lost a son and you don't want to go put in work. You don't want your son to go get revenge for this. You don't want that. You're weak. So he gets on the phone with his son. And he's trying to explain to his son that the very people that he's vouched for the whole time that he's been in the penitentiary are leading him in the wrong direction. His son is confused. His son is laying there listening to his father talk to him in a way that he's never, ever talked before. His father's telling him that what he wants to do is wrong. He wasn't saying that when the dudes pulled pistols on them and put it in their face, and then they took the pistols, and then their reputation shot to the heights that only few people could recognize when it comes to this lifestyle or be able to claim. He didn't say that then. Why? Because they made it through. They survived it. See, when you survive this kind of stuff, then you put your own narrative on it. Better know it. Gangster with me. All of that old kind of stuff comes into play when you make it to the other side of the situation. But see, this time they didn't make it to the other side of the situation. They got lit up, and it scared him. And he needs his son to be just as scared as he is. Because that's the only thing that's going to make him stop. The only thing that's going to make him stop. But his son ain't listening. Son ain't listening. So he thinks about the conversation that me and him have, and he tells his son, he said, I love you. And see, his son says back to him, I love you too, Pops. He said, but right now you too emotional, you tripping. This is what we do. And that's when he realized that he had messed up both of his sons so bad that they don't listen to what he's saying. Now, one is gone. The other one is not heeding the father's advice. All Pops want is for him to live. But how does he live? How does he find a way to live in this environment that his daddy helped create for him? This is what it's called for, because if he don't go take care of business, what are they going to think of him? What are they going to do to him? He's the one that lost a brother. What business is it of theirs anyway? Well, let me tell you. When you live in that gang life, you ain't got no business that they don't have a part of. And they don't have any business that you don't have a part of. Everybody's in everybody's business, dictating and making sure that you do what you're supposed to do in a situation, and you're doing the same with them. It's like two piranhas or a pool full of piranhas eating each other, not realizing that you're killing each other, but they keep on doing it anyway until all the piranhas is floating sideways in the water, dead. Blood is everywhere. Oh, wait a minute, but you can claim you went down the real G-way, though. You went down the real G-way. Gangster for real. Kill everybody. Make it make sense to me, y'all. I know you can't. I lived that life. It ain't no sense to it. It ain't no sense to it. So the son, he gets off the phone with Pops. He gets off the phone with Pops. Now, he's back at the prison. He panicking. Son ain't never hung up the phone on him. Especially in a situation like this. Why would he do that? Because he's conflicted. See, his father pierced a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because he still loved his father and respected his father. And his father was getting through to him, so he wanted to stop that, and he hung up because he wanted to get revenge for his brother. They done killed his brother. He wanted his lick back. So he don't want to hear nothing else his Pops is saying, because his Pops is breaking that wall down. He's breaking that wall down. So Pops, he calls the one person that's been telling him the entire time since his sons were kids that he was wrong for what he was doing, and one day he was going to pay for it. And that was their mother. And when he called her and he told her that he needed her to go down to that hospital and talk to their son, she told him that she would, but she didn't think he would listen. And he told her, he said, tell him everything that you've always said to me. Tell him that I know now that you were right. Tell him. Because if you don't get through to him, it's a chance that we're going to lose both of them. And I'm telling y'all, look here. You're going to have to come back and listen to the next episode, because it's going to continue to unfold in ways that you can only imagine. And honestly, I don't even want you to have to even go through anything like this. That's why I'm asking you, please pay attention to what I'm saying in this show. Please pay attention to it, right? This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.